Uh, okay, here we are. We still need to wait, so better to be ready than to be sorry. Nothing completely incorrect. Anyways, what? Okay, 148, I think it was. Also, didn't I used to read this with Zoom or something like that? Yeah. 175 of Zoom so that it can be fully captured, let's we say. 148. What? Which I left the number around here. 1482. Lomasa says, yeah, it is. We are still with the Among Us and whatnot. My God, I remember now why it took so much to change finally. Um, the aim and whatnot. Anyways, completely. Anyways, but yeah. Also, my bad. I didn't say it. Good morning. Uh, Here we are. We are going as always to wait a little bit because if we don't, it ends up happening that we have ads literally in the middle of everything else. So, time to cultivate patience as always. In that sense, anyways, it it was in July the last time we read anything, so we will have to see how it goes. I I certainly hope. I am pretty sure I haven't seen anybody at all even try to, but I hope there is a public reading of the Mahabharata itself somewhere because I am a lot of things, but trustworthy in that sense. We haven't, in this whole year, I think we have had less than 10 sessions of reading, so certainly not the best person to expect this to be finished from, and also just by the nature of the process, I am not even reading in a proper way because, as always, I like to stop a little bit and make observations based on what it says. Anyways, completely, anyways, we will see. We will simply observe. We will continue doing our work in that sense. After all, we have, I don't know, in percentage, like only 20% of the book done or so. So, probably, probably we should try to get at the very least to like 25-30% this year. But, yeah, if there are still so many other problems like it happened before, where it goes completely into the most esoteric type of meanings, I might have some problems there, but if not, we might not lose that much time in anything. But it all rests on the possibility of not getting distracted by anything of that sort, and yeah, kind of hard to predict anything like that. At least for now, I don't I don't really know. We will have to see. As always, we will have to see. Um, anyways, let me. I think I have everything set up. Supposedly, there is. There is nothing really that much more. Nothing that much necessary to say as always. I don't really want to add that much. You're awake? What? Good morning, but I'm pretty sure it isn't early. Yeah, yeah. It is called bait. It isn't really ASMR, but if we say, if we all believe that it is ASMR, just because somebody is reading, then we have the possibility of saying, "Wow, this is wow quality content." But yeah, eh, good morning, son. I hope you're doing well. Uh, yeah, I know that's like how to say it, like what would be expected um, at around 12 p.m. No, 12 a.m. or 11 a.m. It is like normal to be awake. That's why like early. It isn't early, but ah, at the very least, we are all awake. So that's more than enough, even if it is early or not. Ah, um, I should drink something before we start. I guess there is literally nothing holding me back from that. So yeah, uh, I might as well do so. Thank you. Anyways, here we are. Um, I wouldn't. I don't know. I wouldn't probably recommend to lose your sleep. Just, I, I guess it would be quite a thing to be thankful for, but I wouldn't recommend to change your whole sleeping schedule because of something like that. I don't think so. I don't know, but at the very least, people is happy because of that. I don't know. I guess there is still the excuse of, oh my god, it is it is late, or it is early, or we are young, so there won't be that much of a damage, if any at all. After all, because you're young, it is expected for you to mess up your whole sleeping schedule, so wow, let me just contribute. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about that. I wouldn't recommend really losing losing sleep in that way. Ah, what a thing. What a crazy thing. Anyways, um, we're almost 10 minutes in. Supposedly there are no more ads. Supposedly. Uh, Let me check. Also, wait, because I mentioned that ads. I never realized I never changed the settings. Um, I never changed the disable pre-rolls. I I have been here for like almost a year, probably more. I never checked even that, but I should have realized that we had them still on. My bad. Also, good morning, Crespian. I hope you're doing well. Um, Certainly, a little bit of time, tupo time, reading time today in particular. But yeah, uh, I think I have nothing more to say. Do I? No. Um, let me hit where I love that sometimes I lose what is stuff in OES transition and okay, give me a second because I have to disable the captions if I don't want my whole PC to lag. Thank you. There it is. No more captions, partially because we are not even using them. Also, why is the microphone peaking? What is? Am I too close? Should I be farther away? What? I need. I should be at this distance. I have like. I'm incredibly far away. I can't be. What? Did I change something? I didn't. Oh my god, I didn't check the audio, but I know it is incredibly loud for some reason compared to what is normal. And there wasn't any update in my drivers or in anything. I don't know why it is peaking so much. Anyways, excuse me if it is so annoying. I I don't even know why. Anyways, um, so okay, now for real. Time to read. Time to focus a little bit on this quick rundown, the quickest possible, to sum up every single thing that we have read up until this point. It's a lot. I think it will be something like the Mahabharata can very well be called a book that is about the different epic poems and stories contained inside of itself, referring to multiple significant figures and gods of the Hinduistic belief of the of the Hindus basically and their whole system of belief. There are almost all the meaningful or most well-known gods contained inside of it to begin with, and it has quite a lot of details. Being honest, even if it doesn't feel like the correct term here, it has a lot of lore, basically. Uh, it contains a lot of story about different gods and whatnot. It's like reading a myth. Why are we even trying to read something like this? It is interesting to do so. It is always. I find it interesting to try and observe such things because it is very much, in that case, similar to something along the lines of the Bible. I think a good example would be when Thus spoke Zarathustra. It is in those type of texts that you can find how the meaningful ideas can be found themselves even behind explanations that seem to be given to very particular individuals. That is why trying to extrapolate what is being told and what not from there into the present and into a more rational, logical, objectively personal type of sense is interesting. So yeah, that is also why, as I said before, this isn't really just reading. It I read a canto like they are named here, and we stop for however long I find it necessary to get the particular idea across. If it is that there is any conceivable concept inside of the canto itself, there are also, because of how big the book is, there are some cantons which have nothing whatsoever to truly extract from. So yeah, we'll have to discover that. We can only learn about that in advance. No, it is impossible to do so in advance, so we do it in the moment. And if it is that it has anything interesting, then we can say, oh wow, yeah, it was nice. But, anyways, now properly, where, where are we in the story? There is this main family named the Pandava family. They are, let's say, the good ones, and they are the ones who make most of the main plot line move. We are watching them, we are observing how they are doing a kind of traversal of the whole universe, of the whole Mahabharata universe, in terms of exploring the world because they need to visit all the tirthas, also called samangas, which are basically wells of purification and the places where one performs rites in order to give to oneself or to different gods some type of. It isn't even an offering, it is more like just honor. And some type of reward. I wouldn't say that I fully understand how it works. It is like there are these places around the earth which you can go and bathe in, and just because you did that, you gain benefits. It will probably taking us disrespectful even, but I pretty much can trace this to something like, oh yeah, the tirthas are like places where you gain permanently um, remaining passive buffs. You go there, you take a bath, and now your character has some extra buffs to help you in any kind of respect. So, once again, it might not be the best way to think about it, but it is the easiest one for me in terms of what is even the concept of a tirtha. But yeah, we're observing that, and I don't even know how many more there are left, and exactly what. Brave almost crashed. Okay, okay. Anyways, as I was saying before, my PC almost exploded. I don't know. Um, we simply keep observing that. Thank you. It took me 10 minutes to make the whole quick rundown. Thank you. And nothing more to say. Let me start to read before it gets even later. Oh my god, I didn't expect to spend so much time in that. Yeah, let me start. Thank you. Anyways, is it really going to not work? What is okay? There it is. Anyways, now for real. No, Now, let me drink water, and after that I will properly start. I simply need to drink something. I can still feel how my throat is not fully functional because it might be dry. Thank you. Um, Anyways, now for real. Starting. Canto 135. Tirthayatra Parva continues. Lomasa says, here of your Samanga was called Mudhavila, and yonder is Kardamila, the bathing place of Bharata, when misery struck Sachi's lord after he killed Beritra. Indra bathed in this Samanga and was freed from his sin. Here, Purusharisabha is where the Mainaka mountain sank his roots into the earth, and so it is called Vinasana. Once it was here that Aditi cooked her offering of sacred food to the Brahman, so that she might have sons. Climb, climb, climb this lofty hill, O you bulls among men, and put an end to your inglorious, unreliable sorrow. Here before you, O king, is the Karanghala mountain range, a favorite resort of sages. Yonder is the mighty Ganga. In ancient times, the rishi Sanat Kumara found mukti by performing ablutions here in this river. You will also be freed from all your sins, son of Kunti, if you and your brothers touch the waters of this lake called Punya, and this mountain Brigutunga, and also the waters of these two rivers called Usniganga. Look here. Sorry. Look, here is the asrama of the Rishi Stulasiras. Here renounce your anger and sense of self-importance, and there, Pandava, is Arabia's beautiful asrama, where Bharadwaja's son, Yavakrita, profound in Vedic lore, perished. Yudhishthira says, how did the mighty Yavakrita, son of Bharadwaja, acquire profundity in the Vedas? And how also did he perish? I am eager to hear all this, just as it happened. I find great delight in listening to the deeds of such godlike men. Lumasa says, Bharadwaja and Raibya were two friends, and they lived here, ever taking the greatest pleasure in each other's company. Raibya had two sons, eh, named Yavarakrita. Raibya and his two sons were versed in the Vedas, while Bharadwaja practiced tapasya. But, oh Bharata, from their boyhood, the friendship that existed between these two was unequaled. I know this incredibly early, guys. Sir, I mean, this is my my time slot. I prefer to stream early. I am surprised to see you here. Um, I hope you're doing well. I I wouldn't have expected to see you around. I hope you're fine, guys. Sir. I hope you slept most because certainly for you, based on your streaming time, I don't know if you even slept something, but yeah, for me this, yeah, I knew it, I called it, I knew it, I saw it coming. Guys, go to sleep. I love you. Go to sleep. Go to bed, guys. But yeah, that's the average. Yes. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Anyways, Yeah, yeah. You didn't see that? You never saw them? Yeah. They modify quite a lot. What somebody tries to say. I I hope you like them. They are all there just for you, I said. Anyways, let me. TV, my TV. Ah, don't worry, don't worry. You get accustomed to it. You get accustomed to it. It is everything a cope to keep them in place. Anyways, let me continue. Last time I said, Geyser, I love you. Go to sleep. Anyways, continuing. Sinless, the high-spirited Yavakrita found that Brahmanas slighted his father, who practiced asceticism. Um, While they revered Raivya and his sons, Yavakrita was overwhelmed with sorrow and became sorely aggrieved. He embarked upon severe austerities in order to obtain knowledge of the Vedas. He exposed his body to fire. He made Indra anxious with his terrific penance. Indra went to him and said, "Why, O sage, do you sit in such a dreadful tapasya?" Yavakarita said, "Oh, you whom the devas adore, I sit in penance to gain such a jnana of the Vedas as no Brahmana has ever had before. O conqueror of Paka, my tapasya is to have the Vedas manifest themselves in me. Why, I mean to acquire every manner of knowledge through my tapasya. Lord, learned through gurus, the Vedas take a long time to be known. I perform my austerities to have them in a short while." Indra said, "Brahmana, the path you tread is not the proper way. Why do you want to destroy yourself? Go and learn from the lips of a preceptor." Saying this, Sakra went away, and the Avakrita, of immeasurable energy, fell once more to his tapasya. "O king, I have heard that by continuing his stern penance, he greatly agitated Indra, who came again to that Maharishi and forbade him, saying, 'You strive so that the Veda manifests both in yourself and in your father, but your exertions can never be fruitful, nor is this tapasya of yours well advised.'" Also, probably late, but don't worry, Geyser. Eh, I I know I am saying it too much at this point. It might not be funny anymore, but maybe go and go to your bed and don't worry about returning. Go there and close your eyes. Eh, anyways, Yavakrita said, "Lord of the Devas, if you do not give me what I want, I will perform even more stringent tapasya. Indra, if you do not grant me what I want, I will cut off my limbs and offer them as a sacrifice into a blazing fire." Indra realized how determined the sage was and decided to use some guile to dissuade him. Indra assumed the guise of an ascetic Brahmana, hundreds of years old and infirm and suffering from consumption, and he fell to throwing up a dam with sand at the very place along the Bhagirathi to which Yavakrita used to come to bathe. Unceasingly, Sakara began to fill the Ganga with sand, and he attracted Yavakrita's attention. When that bull amongst the sages saw Indra earnestly building his dam, he broke into laughter and said, "What are you doing, O Brahmana? And what is your object? Why do you undertake this mighty endeavor for no good reason?" Indra said, My child, I am trying to dam the Ganga so that there might be a commodious passage across the water. People experience considerable difficulty in crossing and recrossing the river by boat. Yavagrita said, "Oh, you of ascetic world, you cannot dam this mighty current. Oh, Brahmana, desist from what is impracticable and take up something that you can achieve." Indra said, "Rishi, I have imposed this weighty task upon myself, just as you have undertaken your tapasya, which can never be fruitful, in order to know the Vedas." Yavakrita said, "If, Lord of the Devas, my penance is doomed to fail, be pleased to grant me something that I can achieve. Bless me with boons by which I can excel other men." Indra said, "The Vedas will be manifesting you, and in your father as well, and all your other desires will also be fulfilled. Return home." Yavakrita, having thus got the object of his desire, Yavakrita came to his father and said, "Father, the Vedas will be manifesting you as well as myself, and I have obtained boons whereby we shall excel against all men." Bharadwaja said, "Oh, my son, because you have obtained the objects of your desire, you will become proud. And when you are puffed up with pride and have also become uncharitable, destruction will soon overtake you. There is a tale that the gods themselves tell. In ancient times, there lived a sage named Baladhi, possessed of great energy, and in grief over the death of a child, he practiced severest penance to have a child that would be immortal, and he got a son even as he desired. But though they were favorably disposed towards him, the gods did not yet make his son immortal. They said, "No mortal can be deathless without some condition by which he can die." Baladhi said, "Oh, Devas, these mountains have always existed and are invincible. Let their destruction be the condition of my son's death." Baladhi's son was called Medhavi, and he was highly irascible. When he learned of the only way in which he could die, he grew haughty and began to insult the sages of the earth, and he reigned over the world, doing mischief to the munis. One day, he met the Maharishi Danushaksha of immense tehas, and the arrogant Medhavi insulted him. The rishi cursed him, "Be you ashes." But Medhavi was not reduced to ashes. Then Danushaksha had a vast herd of buffaloes shatter the mountain, which stood as the condition of Medhavi's immortality. The young man instantly died. Taking his son's corpse in his arms, Medhavi's father began to bewail his fate. "Now listen, my child, to what the rishis, who were masters of the Vedas, chanted when they found the sage mourning. Never can a mortal overcome what fate ordains. Lo, then Danushaksha shattered even the mountain with a herd of buffaloes. So do young ascetics, who are puffed up with the pride of the boons they have received, swiftly perish. You do not want to be one of them. This Raipia, O my son, is possessed of great tehas, and his two sons are like him. Therefore, be vigilant, never approach him. My child, Raipia is a Maharishi of short temper. If angered, he can do you harm." Yavakrita said, "I will do as you say. Do not be anxious, father, for Raipia deserves my reverence, even as you do." Yet, after placating his father with sweet words, Yavakrita, fearing nothing and nobody, began to take his delight in wantonly offending other munis. Okay, that's count 135. Um, Thank you. I am pretty sure I already read this, and the problem is I don't even know why I have this feeling. Because did I make a mistake or something? It's like I read this, but I forgot exactly if I did it or not, or if it is yet another case in which the story is exactly the same. Because it happens that they are too similar, man. They, if there is something that I don't like, that happens quite a lot, is stories are repeated over and over, and it happens too many times also that the names used for the stories are the very same ones, even if obviously the characters are not the names, which is the only thing that we get here, beside descriptions, is reutilized. So quite a problem. But we will do whatever we can. We will act, even if it is repeated, like nothing happened here, and continue. Um, so, what is the point of this? What can be extracted? I think it is quite obvious. The most important lesson is what what the father says to his son, what it is to Yamagrita, but what Bharadwaja says in this part of okay, exactly what it says is can I highlight it properly? Okay. Oh, my son, because you have obtained the objects of your desire, you will become proud, and when you are puffed up with pride and have also become uncharitable, destruction will soon overtake you. That and the rest of the example serves yet again as another reminder of how um, harmful it can be to certainly place a lot of importance on what are the achievements that we get in this case. And the only problematic translation, let's say, will be the wounds themselves are always things that is more related to the gods and what they give as rewards or blessings in general. So it becomes quite complex to trace that into yet another type of concept. But the most similar way to envision that will always be something along the lines of simply, purely, somebody who pays too much attention to what they achieve in general. Any kind of achievement in general can be utilized for this idea. And that is, I hope, not something that needs to be explained that much more. It is perhaps something that we hear enough times, how damaging it can be to take pride on your own actions and your own results and whatnot. After all, even if, as it is concluded later on, the fact that you believe that what you can achieve based simply on what you gained before raises your expectations quite highly. In this sense, certainly, the Mahabharata is quite intense in the way in which such an idea is portrayed, talking directly about the dead and such, instead of simply being, perhaps you will find yourself to be hard. Perhaps no. It goes directly into, yeah, you are taking pride in something. You are going to die. But it can't be any less dramatic, I guess. So excuse it, please. But that part is the main focus of the whole canto. Now, that's the important part. There is something that I don't fully make sense of, and I need to think about it a little bit because if it is that we read it before, I probably didn't think about it anyways, and that is how is it that the realization of the Tapasya itself can be so important even for the gods if it all is performed by human beings? I think sadly I am lacking understanding in what is or understanding in what is exactly the way in which Tapasya works, because the idea of Tapasya, let me go into a more appropriate place. Um, Around here, okay, around here, I think it talks about very much how trying to, okay, sorry. As I said before, Tapasya can very much be called the process by which you enter like some type of trance, some type of meditation, which which specify the goals. I think so, and until that point, the description is correct enough to understand what happens. The problem is how is it that this method, what is conceived as tapasya, can later on be also even observed as something impactful enough to even alert the gods of your actions and make them be aware of what you are doing, and almost like force them to do something in regards to what you are realizing the tapasya for. Because as it happened here, um, Yavakarita ended up realizing such a tapasya that it was, as based on what I understood, necessary for Indra, a god, to come down to earth and try to appease his desire and in the end even grant his wish. I don't I don't understand exactly that part. Firstly. Secondly, also I already was going to forget about it. Thank God I scrolled upwards, and this was very much a, a very weird thing to read, because it is said as if it is nothing, as if it is the most understood thing, but it is, I am pretty sure, quite an interesting concept. How, repeating, Indra said, Brahmana, the path you tread is not the proper way. Why do you want to destroy yourself? Go and learn from the lips of a preceptor. It is talking about, in this case, as I mentioned before, we are considering the tapas and whatnot, and how, in this case, Yavakrita was performing his tapasya in order to gain knowledge about all of the Vedas. Certainly, a little bit more outlandish the concept of what the reward and the desires were, based on how it seems to be such an important act, and the performance of tapasya and whatnot. All of that is more outlandish, but it can still, the main concept of the realization of your actions based purely on what you wish for yourself without the help of anybody else might as well be damaging. And this, I believe, is an interesting concept, not because it is said, once again, by a guy, it is said by Indra, who is in the whole Vedic tradition like one of the main gods. The problem is also that, as I said before, there was no attention paid to this. It is said like it is the most normal thing to mention, like the most expected idea, when indeed I believe it can be called quite the opposite. But yeah, I don't think I need, better to say, I need to keep thinking about it. But so far, as I understand it, or trying to adjust that into something else, it might as well be compared to how, in the modern era, trying to comprehend things based purely on what you can perceive just by yourself is quite a meaningless action, and in this case, the part of self destruction can even be traced back because it talks about mostly how this happens normally and so frequently based purely on our desires and the incapacity to recognize that, once again, in the present era, the possibility of gaining what you wish for can be done so, can be achieved by using the tools that the rest left behind. In this case, it is talking about tapasya and whatnot, and the and obtaining the knowledge of all the Vedas. In the case of Karita, who was performing that tapasya, that's why also the main idea is to go and learn from the lips of a preceptor in order to be given down the ideas themselves as what they are. But I guess the concept kind of remains that this process requires the help of somebody else, almost, let's say. And I guess maybe I might be overthinking it, but I think also it is quite an interesting observation to make because later on, when you take into account how Indra granted his wish, it supposedly didn't even happen like the rest of the normal grantings that the gods perform. There is very much unestablished. At this point, we have already observed in enough occasions how it happens that a god gives boons to mortals or even to other gods, but how a god gives boons, that main thing was already observed, and something quite, yeah, here, something quite weird happens. Indra said, the Vedas will be manifesting you and in your father as well, and all your other desires will also be fulfilled. Return home, Yavakrita. That goes quite against the normal structure of boon granting, let's say. The normal thing was always the god says, in this case, creating the example itself for the sake of this will be something along the lines of, if, oh, you, Yavakarita, so desire to obtain the knowledge about all the Vedas, then so be it. I grant you all of that understanding, and that's where it ends. That's how it happens. Not like this. Not in this way of, yeah, you know what? It will be the reality. It has a pre established way of happening. And that made me, for a second, think. I think it is very much a well known idea, even of how supposedly, to a certain extent, and as it is even discussed in the Mahabharata itself, very much all of the knowledge is already contained inside of the human soul. This concept of being capable of gaining it back and reawakening what the spirit already knew is quite a heavy concept in terms of importance related to those who have realized about their nature of karma and their nature of never ending reborn and whatnot. I guess if I am not overthinking it as I started this one, if I am not committing that mistake, it can be said that Indra didn't even do anything, because to a certain extent, the knowledge about these things, about the Vedas, is already existent on every human being. It is there in a dormant quality because you can't realize such things without a proper development of comprehension about said ideas. It can very easily even be traced back, and that's why I believe it can be said that it is necessary to have teachers showing you the way, because if it were to be that the Vedas are already existent, you don't need to be discovered something completely alien to what you are and completely outlandish. You simply need to be shown exactly what that initial feeling of yourself was, and to be given the possibility of by yourself making sense what is the main observation here. I think it goes along that line. Once again, I might be trying too hard to see if it works like that, but I can't avoid that one idea. I can't really avoid it, seeing how apparent it is in this case. It's yet there are too many things that can be related all to one another in this one particular canto to not mention that, because I am pretty sure I have already read this story. I know I have already read this story, and I remember that later on, this guy, Yavakrita, is dumb enough to go ahead and insult the people that he was said to not insult, and that is how he died. Basically, um, if there is something funny, is that every Maharishi has like divine powers or something like that. So if you are angry, yeah, if you make them angry and they desire to punish you, there is no way for you to escape that unless they retract their words. So it happened that Yavakrita basically, in other terms, tilted Maharishi enough to get punished. So yeah, I think it goes along those lines. Yavakrita already had the Vedas instead of him. He simply needed to be shown how they work. That is also why, before Indra mentions even that the path needs to be shown by somebody else because the knowledge can't happen. And this isn't exactly what it says here, even, but I think it can very much be used to make this one argument stronger. The path forward can be divined by oneself when you don't even get what such ideas mean, based on your capacity of understanding innate to your own unique in the void nature. That is why you are also given the possibility of communicating with others, so that the path forward, which you believe you wish, can be made sense of and can be better understood. Once again, maybe I am looking too deep into it this time around. So yeah, I prefer to continue. That's everything for this one observation. Um, Once again, that is Canto 135, not nothing else to add. I think so. But yeah, anyways, before continuing, let me drink something. Also, it will be incredibly funny because I don't know, my browser almost crashed. So, because of that, I don't know exactly in which page we are ending. I am going to get incredibly tilted because of that. If I don't get to learn exactly where we left, because I am already reading something that I already read before, I don't want to, for a third time, read this story. Let me see. What if I change page? Before it is too late. What if I change page? Um, does it work? No, it doesn't work. Oh my god. I'm going to refresh. Give me a second. I want to see if it works. Because I am going to get incredibly angry if I really have to guess where did we leave this story at. Um, Give it 1 second. Anyways, technical difficulties as always, as every single time that I decide to go live. Okay, I changed page. That is fine. It really isn't going to show me where. Oh my god. Okay, I will have to guess. Anyways, that will be a problem for the me who finishes reading this. Uh, what a not annoying thing, certainly. But yeah, anyways, no for real. Also, I don't know why the microphone is so sensitive today. I forgot about it, but checking OBS, I am reminded of this yet again. I don't know what is happening. Anyways, continuing, completely continuing. Canto 136. Tirthayatra Parva continued. Lomasa says, one day in the month of Chaitra, while wandering fearlessly, Devakrita approached the ashram of Raibia, in that beautiful hermitage adorned with trees rich with flowers. He saw the daughter-in-law of Raibia, sauntering about like a Kinnara woman. Smitten by swift passion, deprived of his good sense, Yavakrita said shamelessly to the bashful young woman, "Be mine." At which, knowing his nature, and afraid of a curse, and also thinking of Raibia's power, she said to him, "I will. Wait for me here," promising him everything and tying him up with binds. Sweetly, she went back into her dwelling, When Raibia returned to his asrama, he found his daughter-in-law, Parabasu's wife, in tears. Consoling her with soft words, he asked what was the cause of her grief. Thereupon, the beautiful girl told him what Yavakrita had said to her, and also how she had adroitly kept him at bay. Raibhia's mind flared up in wrath. He tore off a matted lock of his chata and with holy mantras offered it to the sacred fire. At this, a woman who resembled his daughter-in-law in every particular sprang out of the flames. The rishi plucked out another dreadlock from his head and again offered it to the fire. Now, a terrible demon leapt forth from the flames, his eyes fiery, to say to Raipia, "What shall we do?" The angry sage said to them, "Go and kill Yavakrita." They said, "We shall," and flew to do as he bid them. Using her charms, the lovely woman spirit took Yavakrita's sacred water pot from him, then spread upraised. As the spear upraised, the demon flew at Yavakrita when he had been deprived of his water pot and rendered unclean. Yavakrita jumped up and fled towards the tank. He found it empty of water and flew towards all the rivers, but found them dry too. Threatened repeatedly by the Rakshasa with his spear, the terrified Yavakrita tried to enter his father's Agnihodrasala, but there a blind Sudra seized and prevented him. Now the demon cast his spear at Yavakrita and struck him through the heart, and Yavakrita fell dead. After killing Yavakrita, the Rakshasa went back to Raipia, and with the permission of that sage, began to live with the female spirit. Huh? Okay, yeah. Yeah, I pretty much remember this part. I probably committed a tiny error slash miscalculation because this we have already read. The problem is I don't know exactly up to which point did we read, so I can't even say. We might skip X amount of pages. I don't know. I just know that is said in Canto 136 has to say. Now, is there a lesson? Besides the most obvious one of certainly his fate got between sealed and already predicted, and the demise of Yavakrita. I don't think there is anything more of true relevance here. After all, it was already said that this was going to happen, and that yeah, I think the only kind of reading that can be made is trying to make sense of what happened before, because supposedly he was given knowledge about all of the Vedas. Therefore, he should have been capable of restraining his passions. One of the main precepts of observing the Vedas and whatnot, and aspiring to have an ascetic life in the Mahabharata is that you slowly but surely have to get rid of your passions. It can then very much be said that because Yavakrita simply received the knowledge about them in a manner in which all of this knowledge became immediately available to him, there was no capacity to process properly what was being said or talked about. Therefore, he needed to try and analyze it which he didn't in any way. So that ended up leading to this final consequence of his life being lost because he never realized even what was truly the thing to be aware of, as in how he might, in this case, have, by analyzing his conduct and his so much desires, he would have gained the chance of saying, perhaps this is yet another case of carnal desire instead of something which truly is beneficial to the soul and whatnot. But yeah, I think that is kind of the only interesting thing to say, but it isn't really that deep. In that sense, it is like the most obvious one. I believe so, based on the whole previous explanation on the other canto. Simply because this guy understood what was being talked about, he believes, or no, because he believes that he understands, he believes that he is going to be safe from any kind of improper action, when in reality, the proper comprehension about the Vedas leads to a life that, by definition, avoids all of these so called desires. But yeah, I don't know. I don't think there is that much more to say which truly has meaning, and that one is quite hard to put in even more different words than this. So yeah, continuing. Canto 137. Tirthayatra Parva continued. Lomasa says, Kaunteya, Bharadwaja returned to his hermitage after performing the Nitya Karma of the day and having collected wood for the sacred fire of sacrifice. But since his son had been slain, the sacrificial flames that came to welcome him every day did not come forth to greet the Rishi. Seeing this change in the Agnihotra, the Mahamuni asked blind Sudra, why, O Sudra, do the fires not rejoice at sight of me? You, also, do not welcome me gladly, as you usually do. Is all well in my asrama? I hope my son of little sense did not go to Raipia. Answer me quickly, Sudra. My heart misgives me. The Sudra said, your foolish son did go to the Rishi Arabia, and that is why he lies dead on the ground, slain by a mighty demon. Attacked by the Rakshasa holding a spear, he tried to force his way into this room, and I barred his way. Then, wanting holy water while he was unclean, and stood hopeless, he was slain by the Rakshasa. Bharadwaja, grief-stricken, took his dead son in his arms and began to lament. He cried, oh, my son, you did tapasya for the well of all Brahmanas, so that the Vedas, which had not been studied by any Brahman at all, might become manifest in you. You were always kindly and reverent towards any Brahmana. Why? Towards all creatures. But alas, you did lapse into arrogance and rudeness. Oh, my son, I warn you to never go to Rabia's Rama. But even there, you went like Yama himself. Evil is that man who, knowing that I am an old man, and also that my Yavakareta was my only son, gave way to wrath and killed my child, my son. Without you, the most precious thing in the world, I will give up my life as well. Yes, in grief at the death of my child, I renounce my life. But this I say, that Rabia's eldest son will soon kill him, although he be innocent. Blessed are those to whom children have never been born, for they lead a happy life without having to experience this dreadful grief. Who in this world can be more vile than they, who made senseless with sorrow at the death of a child, curse even their dearest friend? Finding my son dead, I curse my dearest friend. Ah, which other man in this world has ever suffered such misfortune? After lamenting long, Bharadwaja cremated his son and then consigned himself to a full blazing fire. Pretty much understand all I will say. That is Canto 137. Nothing new really, but yeah, kind of hard to. Is there really anything besides? Once again, thesis observation will be in this case something along the lines of Bharadwaja was also given all the knowledge of the Vedas, but just like Yavakrita, it was impossible for him to utilize it in any meaningful way because, after all, this knowledge means nothing without proper lines of understanding that cement every idea contained inside of the Vedas. Therefore, it is quite impossible to act in accordance to what truly could have been beneficial, as in nature almost nothing changed from these men, neither from Bharadwaja nor Yavakrita. I will say, yeah, I believe it might as well be kind of the perfect example in this case of how meaningless it is to pursue knowledge so much purely because it is knowledge and nothing else. Perhaps in a different setting with different tools and whatnot, it can be said then that the pursuit of knowledge is fruitful or useful. But here there is nothing truly of honor or utility to observe that has been gained or whatnot. Um, I think so. I I think so. But yeah, that's Canto 137. Nothing else to really add. Continuing, anyways. Canto 138. Tirthayatra Parva continued. Lumasa says, at this very time, the mighty king Brihadyumna, of great fortune, who was the Yamana of Raibya, began a sacrifice. The two sons of Raibya, Arbabasu and Parabasu, were engaged by that wise sovereign to assist him in the performance of the yagna. Kaunteya, with their father's leave, the two went to the sacrifice, while Raibya remained in Terasarama with Parabasu's wife. One day, wanting to see his wife, Parabasu returned home alone. He met his father in the Vana, wrapped in the skin of a black antelope. The night was far advanced and dark. Parabasu blinded by drowsiness in that deep forest, mistook his father for a wild stag, and fearing for his own safety, killed his father. Then, after performing the funeral rites for his father, he returned to the sacrifice and said to his brother, "You will never be able to perform this task unassisted, and I have killed our father, mistaking him for a deer. My brother, keep a brat of expiation for the sin of killing a Brahmana, and I, O Muni, shall complete the yagna by myself." Arvavasu said, "Do then fulfill this sacrifice of the gifted Brihadiyumna, and for you, bringing my senses under perfect control, I will observe the vow to expiate the sin of a Brahmahatya. No, of a Brahmahat. Ah, yeah, I said it correctly. Of a Brahmayatya. Ha, this time no. Of a Brahmahatya. Having kept the Raja for that sin, the Muni Arvavasu came back to the sacrifice, seeing his brother Paravasu, in a voice choked with malice, cried to Brihadayumna, "O king, see that this is a layer of a Brahmana does not enter to your yagna, or even look upon it, even by a glance. The killer of a Brahmana can harm you immeasurably." The king ordered his attendants to turn Arvavasu out as they drove him. Out, the king's men repeatedly cursed Arvavasu, crying, "Brahmana killer!" More than once, Arvavasu protested, "It is not I that have killed a Brahmana." He said he had not kept the Bharata for his own sake, but to free his brother from the sin that Paravasu had committed. Having said this in anger, and being reprimanded by the attendants, the Brahmana, sage of austere penance, retired silently into the forest. There he sat in fierce tapasya, worshipping the sun. The Surya mantra was revealed to him, and then Agnideva, immortal god who has the fiercest share of the heavies from Aniyagna, appeared, embodied to the Rishi. The Devas were well pleased with Arvavasu for what he had done. They had him made chief priest at Brihadayumna's sacrifice, and Paravasu dismissed from it. Agni and the other celestials bestowed boons on Arvavasu. Without his asking, he prayed that his father might be restored to life. He prayed that his brother might be absolved from his sin, that his father might have no recollection of his having been slain, that Bharadwaja and Yavakrita might both be restored to life, and that the solar revelation would find celebrity on earth. The god said, "Tatastu, so be it," and conferred other boons on him also. Yudhishthira, all those who have died were restored to life. And this is what I mean, before continuing, this is what I mean that there is a structure on the bones and whatnot. This part is always included in the gifting of a boon. I don't know, I feel like I'm going crazy when I say that is why Indra didn't give anything at all, neither to Bharadwaja nor Yavakrita, because that knowledge is already inherently existent on every single human being. Anyways, continuing, Yavakrita announced to Agni and the other deities, "I gain knowledge of all the Vedas and also perform tapasya. How, then, did Raibya manage to kill me as he did? Oh, best of gods!" The Devas said, "Yavakrita, never again do what you did. You could be killed because you acquired the Vedas without studying them and without learning from a guru. But Raibya bore many trials. He satisfied his preceptor with his conduct, and gained the Vedas through great exertion and in a long time. Having said this to Yavagrita and having given life back to the dead, the Devas within their head ascended into heaven. Look, Yudhishthira, here is the sacred asarama of that sage, with trees that bear flowers and fruit in all seasons. O tiger amongst kings, by staying here for a while, you will be exorcised of all your sins. That is Canto 138. I think I don't really have that much more to say. It is quite evident what I mentioned before, based on this. I don't really need to say that much more. In that sense, the only other observation worth making is how what's the name of this guy? Can Arbabasu? Yeah, how Arbabasu prayed for everything to return to normality, basically. I think that is the only other important thing. The errors and whatnot of Barabasu don't really mean that much. What matters in this case is, I believe, we are basically observing the Vedas and we are basically observing the nature of those who dwell in the Vedas. So it is quite understandable that the importance of being also capable of forgiving, as it happened with Arbabasu, becomes evident. Not because it isn't interesting in any way, but rather because the forgiveness granted by Arbabasu upon everyone else could very much be called also the main quality of the revival of everyone, as they have been forgiven of their sins to a certain extent using similar language. They had been forgiven of his sins by somebody of a higher tapasya based on the acceptance that they did something wrong because, let's say, they didn't know better. Something along those lines, I guess. I wouldn't be fully sure if that is the most correct interpretation in this case, but yeah, something along those lines. Also, there it is. There we have it. My guitar riff, my beloved. Um, Probably until the next, or yeah, after the next canto, I will deactivate it if I remember. It has been quite a long time since I heard it, so quite an enjoyable tune. But yeah, I think that's it at the very least for this canto. I don't think there is that much more. Which one was it? 137? No, 138. Yeah, that's 138. Nothing else. Hello, wait. Wolf? What? Wolf? Hello. I hope you're doing well, Spike. Wolf? What did he mean by wolf? Wife? Ah, wife. I am blind, sorry. My bad. I am. I got. I got. I got so flustered that I couldn't read the word properly. That's my excuse. Anyways, I hope you're doing well, Spike. So, are we really now wife and husband? I cannot believe Spike. Spike, come. Ah, anyways, here we are. We are reading. Let me read. Let me continue. No, let me drink water before I read anything else. But yeah. I know. Don't worry. I know. But I mean, I couldn't stop blushing when I saw somebody so perfect place their eyes upon me. It was the biggest blessing I have ever received. How could I not feel that burning passion inside of me the moment in which the so lovely Spike decided to appear here? Anyways, continuing. Canto 139. Tirtaya Traparova continued. Lomasa says, "O Maharata, O king, now you have crossed the mountains Usirabeja, Mainaka, and Sweta, as well as the Kada hills. And look, O son of Kunti, O Bharatari here before you float the seven Gangas. This is a most pure and holy place. Here, Agni blazes forth without pause. No son of Manu can see this wonder. So, Pandava, concentrate your mind, Indiana, so that you can behold all these tirthas. Now you will see the playground of the gods, marked with their footprints. Since we have passed the mountain Kala, we will now climb Mandara, the White Mountain, inhabited by the Yakshas, by Manibhadra and Kubera, Lord of the Yakshas. Rahan, here 80,000 fleet Gandharvas and 4 times as many Kimpurushas and Yakshas of various shapes and forms, holding various weapons, attend upon Manibhadra, king of the Yakshas. Great indeed is their power in this realm, and their swiftness is like the very wind. Why, they can unseat Indra himself from his throne. Protected by them, and also watched over by the Rakshasas, these mountains are inaccessible. Therefore, son of Prita, fix your mind, Indiana, for besides this, Kubera dwells here with his ministers and his Rakshasa kindred. We will have to encounter them, so master your energies. O king, the mountain Kailasa is 6 yohanas high. Upon it grows a gigantic Nyagodha tree. Kaunteya, numberless devas and yakshas and rakshasas and kinaras and nagas and suparnas and gandharvas pass this way, going towards Kubera's palace. With my protection, as well as the might of Bhimasena, and also the virtue of your own asceticism and self-command, today you must mingle with them. May Lord Varuna and Yama, conqueror of battles, and Ganga, and Yamuna, and this mountain, and the Maruts, and the twin Aswins, and all rivers and lakes, vouchsafe your safety, and, O efficient one, may you be safe from all the Devas and the Asuras, and the Vasus. Devi Ganga, I hear your roar from this golden mountain, sacred to Indra. O goddess of high fortune, these mountains protect this king, worshipped by all of the race of Ahamidha. O daughter of Himalaya, this king sought to enter into this realm. Do you confer your protection upon him? That's it. Having invoked the protection of the river, Lomasa says to Yudhishthira, be careful. Yudhishthira says to his brothers, I have never seen Lomasa so anxious, so watch carefully over Krishna, and do not be careless. Lomasa knows this place is surely difficult to access, therefore observe utmost purity here. He now says particularly to his brother Bhima, of past prowess, Bhimasena, watch intently over Draupadi, whether Arjuna be near or away. In times of danger, she always seeks only your protection. Then Yudhishthira goes to Nakula and Sahadeva, and after lovingly sniffing the tops of their heads and embracing them, he says with tears in his eyes, do not be afraid, yet go cautiously in this place. And that's it, that's the whole canto? That's canto 139, nothing else. I guess so. Wow, incredibly deep. So relevant, so amazing. Oh yeah, nothing really to say. Nothing to really say here. I'm sorry, but I don't find any particular lesson from that. I mean, am I missing something? I don't think so, certainly. I don't think I am in any way. Probably I should read again. I won't. We will assume that even if there was something important, it isn't important enough to try and go back into it. Is there really nothing? I hate having to read yet again what I already read. Give me 1 second. Okay, the only important thing, the only concept which has any meaning, I can't understand. That is why I don't try to bring it up. I don't understand how it works, that this place is so dangerous. I think the most applying this thing of trying to decode the meaning of things based on the most mystic meaning that they are given, the translation that could be applied, and the decoding of what is the concept behind the mountain is important, and that is the only thing which seems to be necessary to point out here. The problem is I don't get it. That's the real problem here. I don't get what is it about and what can be the message behind why this one part is important in any way. Yeah, I will have to read it all again, but I don't know. I guess probably, let's say it like this, probably the meaning, if it isn't apparent at all, even if it is encoded instead of this, the description of that and the understanding of it will be still meaningful to anybody who is capable of doing it. I can't in my case, because I really don't get what's supposedly the main point. So let me, in any manner, continue. Instead of being stuck here. Also, I changed the page. Thank you. 140. Also, no. Give me a second. I need to do one tiny action, which is I can say it because nobody's going to hear it. I am going to mute, but blow my nose. Give me 1 second. Thank you. Also, I can deactivate the music, right? It is long past 5 minutes, right? Okay, I'm back. It, I don't know. Maybe it took longer than expected. Maybe it didn't. Anyways, I think we can do like one or two more cantos. Let me see. Is this going to be an incredibly long canto? Yeah, it seems so. It's 141, also going to be incredibly long. Yeah, okay. We are going to do 140 only. Uh, I don't have that much time to do both of them, so we'll have to satisfy ourselves only with 140. Also, wording. Perhaps a wording. Anyways, continuing, yeah. Canto 140. Tirthayatra Parva continued. Yudhishthira says, Brigodara, there are mighty and powerful, invisible spirits in this place. We shall, however, pass safely through it with the punya of tapasya and Agnihotra sacrifices. So, Kaunteya, restrain your hunger and thirst by collecting your energies, and also, O Bhima, keep both your strength and your wits at the ready. You heard what Rishi Lumasa said about Mount Kailasa, so think how Krishna will pass this place. Or mighty Bhima of the large eyes, return from here, taking Sahadeva with you, and all our charioteers, cooks, servants, chariots, horses, and our brahmanas worn out with travel, while Nakula and I, together with Munilomasa of Great Tapasya, go on, subsisting on the lightest fare and observing vows. You await my return at the source of the Ganga, protecting Draupadi till I come back. Bhima replies, Bharata, although this blessed princess has been sorely afflicted by toil and sorrow, yet she travels on easily in the hope of seeing Arjuna of the white steeds. Your grief also is great at not seeing the noble Arjuna, who never flees a battle. It goes without saying that your sorrow will only increase if you do not see me, Sakadeva and Krishna as well. It is best that Brahmanas turn back with their servants, charioteers, cooks, and whoever else you command. I will never leave you in these wild and inaccessible mountain realms, infested by Rakshasas, and, O tiger among men, this princess of great fortune, always devoted to her lords, does not want to turn back without you. Sahadeva is ever devoted to you. He too will never turn back. I know him well. Rahan, we are all eager to see Arjuna, and so we will all go on together if we cannot pass over this mountain in our chariots, because it abounds in defiles. We will go on foot. Do not worry, O king. I will carry Panchali wherever she cannot walk. This is what I have decided, so do not be anxious or distracted over impossible places. I will also carry your tender-bodied heroes, the twins, the delight of their mother, wherever they cannot walk. Yudhishthira says, May your strength increase, O Bhima, for what you say, that you will carry the illustrious Pancharya on these twins. Bless you! No man is as brave as you are. May your strength, fame, merit, and reputation increase. O long-armed one, since you offer to carry Krishna and the twins, exhaustion and defeat will never be yours. Now, the enchanting Krishna says with a smile, "Oh, Maharaja, I will be able to go, so do not be anxious on my account." Lomasa says, "Access to the mountain Gandhamadana can only be gained through asceticism. So, Kaunteya, we must all do tapasya. And then, O King, Nakula, Sahadeva, Bhimasena, you and I will all see Arjuna Swetavahana." Thus, speaking together, journeying on, they see with delight the great domains of Subahu, situated on the Himalayas, abounding in horses and elephants, densely inhabited by the Kiratas and the Tanganas, crowded by hundreds of Pulindas, frequented by the Devas, and rife with wonders. King Subahu, the lord of the Pulindas, receives them joyfully at the frontier of his realm, paying them proper respect. Being received with honor and dwelling in comfort in that place, they set out for the Himalaya. When the sun shines brightly in the sky, they entrust the care of all their servants, Indrasena and the others, and the cooks and the stewards, and Draupadi's accoutrements, and everything else. Those Maharajas, the mighty scions of the Gurus, and Krishna with them, go forth from that land. Cautiously, all of them glad at heart at the prospect of seeing Arjuna. Yudhishthira says, Bhimasena, Panchali, and you twins, listen to me. The karma done in previous births does not perish, but surely produces its fruits. Eh? What? Am I not missing something? Anyways, exhausted and distressed as we are, we have to support one another and pass through well nigh impossible places so that we might see Arjuna. Kshatriya, I do not see the Ranghaya beside me, and this burns me even as fire does a heap of cotton. I live in the forest with my younger brothers, anxious to see Arjuna again. This thought, as also the memory of the grave insult to Yagnaseni, consumes me. Oh, Brikodara, I do not see the invincible part of the great bow, an incomparable energy, who is younger than you and older than Nakula. For this, Bhima, I am miserable. Just to see my Arjuna again. I have been wandering to various tirthas for 5 years, passing through charmed jungles, passing lovely lakes, yet I do not see him. For this, Brikodara, I am miserable. I do not see the long-armed Gudakesa of the dark blue skin and the lion's gate. For this, Brikodara, I am miserable. I do not see that Guru Stama, master of weapons, most skillful in battle, and matchless among bowmen. For this, Brikodara, I am miserable. I am distraught because I do not see Prita's son, Darankaya, born on the Nakshata Falguni, who was amongst his enemies, even like Yama during the Pralaya. Partha, who has the prowess of an elephant in mast, with the source of rot trickling down its temples. Arjuna of the leonine shoulders, not inferior to Sakra himself in strength and energy, elder in years to the twins of white steeds, unrivaled in heroism, invincible, and wielding an awesome bow. For this, O Vrikotara, I am miserable, and he is always of a forgiving temper, even when insulted by the meanest men, and he confers benefits and protection to the righteous, but to perfidious one who tries to do him harm with treachery, that unhighest like virulent poison, be not the one Sakara himself. And the mighty Bibhastu of immeasurable soul and strength shows mercy and extends protection even to a foe when fallen. He is the refuge of us all, and he crushes his enemies in battles. He owns the power to earn any treasure whatever, and he ministers to our happiness. It was through his prowess that I own measureless precious jewels of myriad kinds, which now Suyadhana has absorbed. It was through his might, O Kshatriya, that I owned the palatial Mayasabha, embellished with every manner of gemstone, and celebrated throughout the 3 worlds. Pandava, in prowess Falguni is like Krishna, and in battle he is invincible and unrivaled, even like Kartavirya. Alas, I do not see him, Bhima. Arjuna, who in might is like Krishna and Balarama. In strength of arms and spirit, he is like Purandara himself. In swiftness, he is like the wind. In grace, like the moon. And in wrath, he is like eternal Yama. Mahabharata, to sit at war like Purushabhyagra, tiger among men, we will go to Gandhamadana, where the hermitage of Nara Narayana is, beneath the celebrated Nyagrota tree, the asrama inhabited by yakshas. We will sit at the best of mountains, and by doing stern tapasya, we shall walk to Kubera's beautiful lake, guarded by rakshasas. That place cannot be reached by chariots or carts, Brikotara, and neither can cruel, greedy, or choleric men even go there. Mahabharata, Bhima, in order to see Arjuna, there shall we journey in a company with Brahmanas of strict vows, girding on our swords and wielding our bows. Only those who are impure meet with flies, mosquitoes, tigers, lions, and reptiles, but never the pure. Therefore, controlling our diet and restraining our senses, we shall go to Ganjamadana to see Arjuna Dhananjaya. And that's it. That's Canto 141, I think. Or 140. Oh, yeah. This is 140 only. The final setup so far for the meeting between the rest of the Pandavas and Arjuna. So far, who has the power to conquer his biggest enemies so far. So yeah, that's where we are living also, because yet another day, we have a lot of time, nothing else to really say. Um, so far, nothing else to really add. I guess. Let me copy this number before I forget. That's the only thing I will say. We finish on page 100, no, 1499. Or, in other terms, 1400. Because I don't know why they say it like that. But yeah, that's everything. That's that is everything. We are done. Uh, Nothing else to really say. We finally, after months of not reading, we continue. I will have right now, before even leaving, because last time I forgot, and I have already suffered the consequences of doing that by having to reread what we already read before. I will exactly right now go and save the page in which we left. I don't want to read for a third time these things. Um, so yeah, uh, that's it. But yeah, I always, they're always interesting. They're always worth paying attention to. I guess the only problem is also sadly that they take quite a lot of time to properly read, I feel like. But I don't know. I I am simply content with the idea that we get to continue. I I might try to increase a little bit the frequency so that this year we don't finish it with so little occasions of readings and whatnot. But yeah, uh, that has been it. That has been everything. Now we are leaving. We are done mostly. So, right? Is there even somebody up right now? I hope so, right? At this time, no, it isn't. Yeah, sadly, it isn't time even. We are early enough to not watch so can go live. So sadly, that can't be your reality today. But yeah, Nicola, Nicola is streaming. Nicola is live. Nicola, my beloved, we are going to raid Nicola. Nicola, I didn't expect to see Nicola. What is doing Nicola at this hour of the day? Incredible. But yeah, anyways, whenever we can, we're getting back here. I don't even know when. Probably, if everything goes well, tomorrow. Um, because yeah, nothing else to really say in that sense. Not that much more to expect or whatnot. But as always, thank you for everything. It has been yet another wonderful time of considerations, ideas being contemplated and whatnot. But sadly, it must come to an end. We will see when we get another possibility. But today, we have run out of time for that. So yeah, yet again, thanks for everything. Thanks for being here. Thanks for watching. Thanks for lurking. It has been a pleasure. And yeah, next time, I don't know, taking into consideration that probably tomorrow it will be, perhaps tomorrow I might also try to go for something like a reading. No, not a reading. Something like a visual explanation of that sort. If not, I will probably simply come here and talk like crazy without any other worry. But yeah, uh, that I will have to worry by myself. Anyways, goodbye. Have a nice life. Be happy, be content, do meaningful things, enjoy existence, contemplate, and yeah, until the next time. Now, more important, more meaningful than this, we are going to live. We are living. We are reading. We are going into Nicola, who is playing Witchfire, an FPS. So yeah, good luck, people. Thank you for everything. Also, I hate that the subtitles lag everything.